plane that crashed. This exact same plane had faced problems before as well. 4 years ago, in November 2021, this plane was coming from London to Hyderabad. Because of the fuel leak, it had to land in Turkey. The factory where these planes were being made, when the factory workers were asked undercover if they would ever want to travel in this plane, they clearly refused.
Would you fly in one?
No.
You won't fly in one.
You won't fly in one. These employees had claimed that the Dreamliners were equipped with defective parts. Many times, these metal pieces are left inside the planes, and pressure is put on them to not report these violations. The quality manager working there had directly told his wife that he would never travel in a Dreamliner again. Between 2012 and 2013, 11 such planes were delivered whose quality was so bad that Cynthia Kitchens claimed that they couldn't sleep at night. Hello friends. On 12th June 2025, at exactly 1:30 p.m, Air India's flight A171 departs from the loading bay of Ahmedabad's Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel International Airport. It was supposed to take off for London at 1:10 p.m, but today this flight was late. Boeing's 787 Dreamliner was being used here. And this wasn't the first flight of this plane. About 12 hours before this plane came from Paris to Delhi. And in the morning, it took a flight from Delhi to Ahmedabad. A passenger, Akash Vatsa, was sitting in this flight. He noticed something very strange. He saw that the plane's wing flaps were constantly going up and down, and the plane's AC wasn't working properly. This AC is not working. Look at everywhere. Later, he shared the video of this incident on social media. He said that not only the AC, but the plane's entertainment system, remote control, wasn't working properly. The flight entertainment is not working, but fortunately, at 11:16, this flight landed safely in Ahmedabad. This plane is refueled at around 12:20 p.m, and it takes exactly 42 minutes to fill up the tank, which is a little more than usual. Usually, it should take 30 to 35 minutes. A DGCA official later tells the Indian Express that this was not an out-of-the-ordinary thing. It may take a little more time to fill up the tank for such a max payload flight. The fuel was being filled and passengers were boarding the plane. Exactly 242 people board this plane. 230 passengers, 10 crew members, and 2 pilots. Captain Sunit Sabharwal was in command of the plane. He had a flying experience of 8,200 hours. Co-pilot Clive Kunda was with him. He had a flying experience of 1,100 hours. At 1:31 p.m, the plane starts heading towards the active runway. At 1:34 p.m, it gets permission to take off from Ahmedabad's air traffic services, and at exactly 1:38 p.m. and the 24th second, all its pre-check flight checks are completed. There was no warning before the takeoff. There was no request for runway change, thrust modification, and flap adjustment. The weather was fine and visibility was good. The temperature was a little high, but within the operational limit. This plane goes to runway number 23 and takes its position. At 1:48 and 44th second, this plane takes off from runway number 23. If you look at this international airport through satellite imagery, you will see that there is only one runway. And this airport is surrounded by residential areas. A 17-year-old boy, Aryan, was living in the houses around here. He wanted to show his friends how a plane flies. So he takes out his phone and starts filming a video. In the video taken by him, you can see how the plane's landing gear has not come up. At 1:38 minutes 55 seconds, the plane reaches a height of 625 feet in the air, but cannot go above it. A few seconds later, the pilots call the air traffic controller and say, "Thrust not achieved. Falling, falling." After this, the plane's ATC contact breaks and the ATC tries to contact again, but there is no response. At 1:49 p.m, the plane starts to fall down and Only 34 seconds after taking off, this plane crashes in a hostel in Meghnani Nagar, a residential area about 1.5 kilometers away from the airport, and this hostel catches fire. Lunch break was going on in the hostel, and about 35 students were gathered in the canteen. Suddenly, a plane came and collided with the canteen. No student understood what had happened. To save their lives, students started jumping from the windows. Some jumped from the second floor and some from the third floor. The people living nearby told us that when the plane collided with the medical college's hostel, they heard a loud noise, and they thought that it was an earthquake. When they came out and saw, there was only smoke all around, and there was a pile of rubble on the ground. Out of all the people on the plane, only one passenger survived, Vishwas Kumar Ramesh, a British citizen who was sitting at seat number 11A near the emergency exit. They say that the part of the plane where their seat was fell to the ground by chance. When they saw an empty space outside, they came out of the emergency exit, but the other part of the plane was blocked by the wall. For this reason, no one else was able to come out. The government has not yet told the official toll, exactly how many people were killed here, but it is estimated that this number will be more than 270. This plane crash will be written in the pages of history, one of the most terrifying crashes in the world. Everyone has the same question in their mind. Why did this crash happen? Who is responsible for this? Air India, Boeing, or the government? Let's try to understand, based on the current evidence, what exactly happened here. After this crash, investigators have recovered the cockpit voice recorder, in which the conversations and sounds in the cockpit are recorded. Along with this, the flight data recorder has also been recovered, in which the data of activities like altitude, speed, and engine performance is recorded. By combining these two, the plane's black box is formed, which helps a lot in understanding air crashes. This crash inquiry is being conducted by India's Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau, in which the teams of the UK and the US are helping. But because this plane is an American-made Boeing aircraft, the US National Transportation Safety Board, NTSB, is also conducting a parallel investigation. A few days ago, it was reported that the black box of this plane is being sent out of India to America for further investigation. AI crash probe is concerned. We are now learning that the black box will be sent to the United States, and all the data in it will be recovered in the US itself. But the government is wrong. According to the Aviation Ministry, this black box will be investigated in India. But apart from this black box, we have some other evidence that is already publicly available. First of all, the data of the flight radar, which tells us the exact timings when the plane was communicated, when the ATC said exactly what, when the plane took off, which flights were taken before this, at what altitude the plane flew, and what was its speed when it was at its highest point. All this information is available to us. And apart from this, there are two videos. Two very important videos. A video that was being made by 17-year-old Aryan Asari from his roof, who had come to Ahmedabad for the first time from his village and wanted to show his friends the videos of the plane. I was passing by nearby, so he made a video that I will go to my village and show it to my friends that the plane flies so close. And the second important video comes to us from the CCTV at the airport. In this second video, everything can be seen from the takeoff to the crash of the plane, but the quality is not that good. But in the first video, which is of relatively high quality, we see that before the crash of the plane, the landing gears of the plane were out. This is not normal. Immediately after the takeoff of the aeroplanes, the first thing the pilots do is to put the landing gear inside. If it is out, there is a problem in the takeoff. Apart from this, we can see in the video that the wing flaps of the plane were not open, They were retracted. The wing flaps are exactly here on the wings of the aircraft. With the opening and closing of these flaps, the plane can be controlled to go up and down. When these flaps open, they are deployed. Deploying means going out and pointing downwards. It creates a lot of surface area, which creates a lift and also increases the drag. With the help of this, the plane can fly up during takeoff. In both cases, the landing and takeoff flaps are deployed, but the angle at which they are deployed is different, but only when the plane is flying straight in the air. The flaps are retracted. In Air India flight, the flaps were retracted during takeoff. They weren't opened properly, and the landing gear was also out. Now the question is, why did this happen? Many theories have been made about this. The Economic Times wrote a theory that after takeoff, there must have been a loud noise because the plane's engine failed. The pilots got scared hearing this and forgot to put the landing gear in. There is a similar theory that the co-pilot accidentally inserted the wing flaps instead of the landing gear. All these theories are included in this category, that it was the pilot's fault. But News Laundry was told by a 787 pilot of Air India that the big problem with this theory is that the Dreamliner has big warning systems. If the flaps are not set properly, the pilots are warned. A lot of warning lights start flashing. Apart from this, Captain Sumit Sabharwal had more than 8,000 flying hours of experience. He was a very experienced pilot. So it's very unlikely that the pilots made a mistake here. According to aviation expert Captain Suhail Handa, if the Dreamliner reaches 600 feet without the flaps, then there shouldn't be any problem, because one engine is enough to take it up. So if this theory is not true, then there is only one possibility left. The plane suddenly loses all its power. And we get to see a big proof of this in Aryan's video. If you look closely, you'll see another object under the plane. According to many experienced pilots and experts, this thing is a ram air turbine. This is a small wind turbine that is present in almost all aeroplanes today for emergency situations. You'll find it right behind the landing gear. Whenever all the power sources of an aeroplane stop working, then this turbine automatically comes out and starts generating power by rotating fast in the air. It doesn't generate more electricity, but it does enough to allow some critical electrical and hydraulic systems to work in emergency situations. Now the thing is that it generates its electricity because of the speed of the aeroplane. Because the aeroplane is flying, the wind that is blowing on this turbine is generating electricity from there. The faster the plane flies and the higher the altitude, the more effectively the rat will work. The purpose behind this is to give the pilots time to land safely. But unfortunately, in the AI-171 flight, the plane was neither too high nor too slow. On top of that, the pilots had less than 30 seconds, so the rat couldn't help. But if we can say for sure that the object we saw in the video was a rat, then we can prove that there was a total power loss in this plane. Vishwas Kumar Ramesh said in his statement that right before the crash, a loud noise was heard and the lights started flickering. Aviation expert and YouTuber Captain Steve Scheibner says that this loud noise could be the sound of the hatch opening, which contains the rat. And now we've got a guy saying he heard a loud bang and the lights flickered. What would cause that? The deployment of the rat. Similarly, the flicker of the lights is also a common thing when the rat is deployed, because it uses the reserve electric power code for its own deployment, which affects the other systems. Another proof of the rats